Hey, welcome to Radio Row. I'm your host, Paul Gutierrez, joined here by Yahoo Sports, Jason Fitz, longtime Raider fan, Raider insider as well, I guess we could say. Jason, thanks for joining me here today. I mean, what's this whole vibe like with you right now? Not only being a professional in the media, but being somebody that's followed the Raiders closely for years.
You know, one of the coolest things for me, Paul, is that over the years, like when I first got to ESPN, I was so worried that they would try to throttle back my fandom. And like everybody has this perception of like, oh, no, it was the exact opposite. The minute I came in, the bosses were like, look, you're a Raiders fan. Yeah. Let everybody know that. I've been so lucky, you know, now I'm at Yahoo. And immediately the bosses at Yahoo said, wow, when you talk about the Raiders, people watch that. So yes, if you want to talk about the Raiders, we're going to let you do it. It's really cool for me that I've been able to sort of live these. I mean, it's not always the easiest when things will go well and your phone blows up with all of your peers in this business. But I think one of the beautiful things for me is that Raider Nation is so incredible in support that it's allowed me to continue to grow, you know, a national career while also getting to be who I am as a fan, you know, and I never would have guessed that. I never would have guessed that I would have the opportunity to embrace my fandom and grow my fandom to an even more obscene level, I guess, in this process. But they've all let me do it. So it's cool. I'm looking forward to the turnaround because it'll be nice to be able to sort of swaggy walk into a room. Right. But I love that I haven't had to throttle any of it back.
Well, that's the cool thing about it, too, is that no matter how the seasons go, you're talking about the swagginess of it, the swag. Just the colors, the logo, the iconic identity of the Raiders is always going to be there anyways. For you, what is kind of your moment, your aha moment when you became a fan?
Okay, so my whole life, you speak to iconic branding. I will say this. I was with the band Perry for years. Most people know that. Yeah. We did a live video for a song called Let Me Be Lonely. And it was funny, we were on tour in Europe at the time, and they cut me out of most of the live video stuff because all I was in was sweats and a shirt and shorts every day in Europe. And they were like, you just didn't really look like a rock star, because I never did look like a rock star. But the funny part of that to me is every one of them was a Raiders shirt and a Raiders pair of shorts. And even walking through Europe, people would still scream, Raider, like all the time to me. So you mentioned iconic. It's a beautiful thing. My dad was a massive Raiders fan. Right. So when I was a little kid and I started playing the violin when I was 4, by the time I was 8, I practiced 8 hours a day. I got into Juilliard when I was 10. I was a classical music kid. But my dad's rule was, I don't want to listen to a cat die while I watch the Raiders game. So every Sunday, my dad would go get a dozen donuts, and we'd sit down together and we watch the Raiders game. And that starts as early as I can ever remember. Yeah. So for me, the reason I do what I do now is because as a kid, I was so into the music scene that was my life. That was my work. I was working my whole life. The Raiders were my escape. So all the way back to when I had to sit there on NBC and watch the 10-minute ticker tell me the score of the game. And I had to sit there and watch, you know, Vince Evans go into these games. Like my core Raider memories go all the way back to, you know, the mid to late 80s, sitting there with my dad and you know, dropping everything on Sunday to watch even if all we could do was watch the score, staying up late to watch the George Michael Sports Machine, because it was the only way living in Vegas as a kid, wildly, that I could even see Raiders highlights. Like when we moved to the East Coast, every Friday and every Monday, I would walk the mile down to the corner store because they sold a USA Today. And that was the only way I could get a newspaper that might give me a write-up. Because kids, the internet didn't exist then.
No, not then.
Like I needed to get, and then like maybe a picture of Bo Jackson, maybe a picture of Marcus Allen, right? Like, so my whole life, in my 6th grade yearbook, everybody wrote Go Raiders. Like it's been my entire life. So for me, I grew up a LA Raiders fan that became an Oakland Raiders fan that is now a Vegas Raiders fan. It's always been about that shield. It's always been about the silver and black. It's always been about that. It happens to be that the team now is in the city that made me, which is incredible synergy. Yeah. But to me, like the Raiders fandom, it's in my blood. Like everybody says you bleed these, like I bleed silver and black. I've been lucky enough to play music all over the world. Yeah. My right arm is a tattoo of everywhere I've ever lived and the moments I'm proudest of. And up here is the Raiders outline of the flag with an American flag in it from when I got to play the national anthem at O.co before they left Oakland. Right, to me, as much as music and a violin has been a part of my life, every ounce of the way the Raiders have been there the same.
So I didn't go to Juilliard, but I did get nominated for the McDonald's High School All-America Band for my trumpet.
Let's go.
So I got to get my trumpet. And we'll play a little Autumn Wind.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
And same thing. I mean, I went to UNLV. So to see the Raiders come back to the city I went to school into college, it's just this weird synergy that's kind of full circle moments all the way around.
My first violin teacher when I was 4 years old was at UNLV. So we've talked before, full transparency, we're friends. We've talked before about the fact that like when I was a kid, my life was the Raiders and my life was Larry Johnson and Stacey Augmon. So UNLV basketball was life for me.
So going forward now, I mean, those are all great memories and everything. Now the Raiders are getting ready to embark on a new era, try to create some more new memories, positive things. What are you looking forward to here this offseason? Number 1 draft pick, almost $100 million in cap space.
Fresh start.
Yeah.
Fresh mindset. And look, it's hard. Like, I think about players. I think about Max. How many coaches has Max had in his career already? And so every time a fan is exhausted by the principle of, I've heard this before, I always say, let's think about the players.
Yeah.
Like, they've heard this before too. But if you can't have hope today, when can you have hope? Like, to me, with the first overall pick in the draft, which I think many of us presume is going to be Fernando Mendoza, we'll see. I mean, it's too early to tell. You never know. But you bring in Clint Kubiak as a head coach, somebody that if I told you back in December, hey, the Raiders are going to end up with Clint Kubiak, most people would have said that was the premier hire of this cycle. Like, he was the coveted name. We didn't know that Tomlin and Harbaugh and all these things would happen. But to me, I look at it and say, hey, right now, and I've said this before, but the problems of the Raiders past are not the problems for this regime. It is not up to Clint Kubiak to worry about how we feel as fans and what we've gone through as fans. It's up to Clint Kubiak to come in and truly set a new path. And I will remind everybody, I was working at ESPN covering the Houston Texans when we said on air, no coach is going to want this job and nobody's ever going to turn it around. And what do you know? They found the right coach, they drafted the right quarterback and a great defensive player in the same draft. And what do you know? All of a sudden, 3 straight years of the playoffs. Yeah. So this to me is about a moment of hope. And it's about a moment of trying to find like the right synergy within the organization and an ability to really set a new foot forward for who the Raiders can be, no matter who they've been.
Hope, patience, and looking forward to whoever that coach is being official at some point, because it's still not official, obviously.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So we got to put that out there. It's not official yet, but a lot of hope out there. You, like you just mentioned here, you are a huge Raider historian, so to speak. So I got a game for you to play, Jason.
Okay, let's go.
You got $10. You're the new GM. Give me your all-time Raiders offense with a $10 budget salary cap.
Okay, so this one, I only get $10. Okay, so I think I can do this. I think this gets really difficult. Tim Brown has to be on there for me, even though he's $4.
Interesting. And that's interesting because anybody I've had this talk with, they usually start at the quarterback and just work their way down. You're going Tim Brown right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm going, look, if I build the right things around a quarterback, then my quarterback can be successful.
Oh,
all right, so I need Tim Brown to be a $4 piece for me. And look, back when I was a musician, and long before I ever made it in music, I played a charity event that Tim Brown was part of the council on.
Okay.
He found out I was a Raiders fan, and when I came back after playing our set, there was a signed football from Tim Brown. So
$4 for Tim Brown.
Yes. $4 for Tim Brown. 100%. He deserves that. I'm going to then. I'm sorry, Marcus, because God, you're a legend, but I'm going to go $3 for Bo Jackson.
Respect. I can respect that.
Napoleon Kaufman is a beautiful one there too. But Bo Jackson at his finest, I still remember the Bengals runs. I'm going to go, so that gives me $7, and it only leaves me
with $3
to go. And this hurts my heart, but I'm going to have to do it this way. I go Rich Gannon for $2.
Okay.
And because I would argue that in most of my formative memories, I've never seen a quarterback more focused, more determined, and more able to make the best out of everything around him than Rich Gannon, which only leaves me $1 for Darren Waller. And I'm going to hope that I get the healthiest, best version of Darren Waller for that. I thought about going Brock in DC, but I feel like Rich Gannon deserves the nod over Derek Carr. So
respectable squad. I like it. Especially, I mean, you got an MVP, you got Bo, you've got Mr. Raider, and like you said, Darren Waller when he's the best version of himself. You can't go wrong with that team.
I feel okay about it, but God, this is a reminder of how many great Raiders there have been.
So spinning off that now to what you're doing in your day job, so to speak, as a draft analyst. I mean, what are you looking at now for Yahoo Sports this upcoming draft? What are some of the players, the storylines, things that you're looking forward to?
So look, outside, there are a couple of main things here. Number one, there really is only one quarterback that most people agree is a first round, can't miss, this is a guy that can start in the league. Ty Simpson is a very polarizing when you talk to people around the league. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what other teams do that might be in need of a quarterback this year. Also, this is a big draft already for edge rushers. There's a ton of edge rushers out there, and a big draft, honestly, for fat guys. Like I tell everybody all that. Like, this is what I do, because when this is going to be my 9th year, I think, covering the NFL draft, and look at me, I'm 5'9", 165 pounds. What do I know about being a fat guy? So I have a group text with a bunch of former NFL offensive linemen, and what I do is I use them as my fat guy committee. And every time there's a pick, I'll text them and be like, "Good guy, bad guy, what do we think?" And they're right more often than not.
Yeah.
I would tell you that a boring draft is a great draft.
Yes.
So if you tell me that we go to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and it's just a bunch of big dudes that played Big Ten football, or like big Iowa boys, like, I would have no problem with it. So I think it's a good time to start reading up on all of the fat guys you possibly can.
And to kind of dovetail off to that, I would argue that Reggie McKenzie, when he was general manager, his best draft was the draft that he let just come to him. Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, Gabe Jackson, those guys all it just kind of fell to him, and that team went to the playoffs a couple years later.
I remember at that time fans just losing our minds trying to figure out how are we going to pay Carr and Gabe and Amari. We added all those things together. Like, it's amazing how far ahead of our skis we. Yeah. You're right. I think patience is a virtue on all of this, and understanding for the first time ever that I think we all need to understand that a true rebuild the right way. Like a year ago right now at these Super Bowl events, everybody was talking about Washington being the team that you just want to be. And now all of a sudden they're not. I remind Raiders fans all the time that a true rebuild to becoming the next Kansas City Chiefs, the next, long-term, we can compete year in and year out. I think that's a multi-year process of patience, spending money the right way, and utilizing the draft. So got to have a good draft.
And I'll leave you with this too, Jason. When I look back, Mark Davis, since he took over in 2011, he has overseen a couple of deconstruction, reconstructions. 2011 when he first took over, again when John Gruden came in 2018. Both times, within 2 to 3 years, the team was in the playoffs.
And I think it's important, for all of the conversations we have about the future of the Raiders, I think it's important to have ownership in general that is not afraid to admit when they make mistakes and not afraid to go through the rebuild process, right? Like, what I don't want is the Raiders or as a fan of the Raiders, I don't want the Raiders to say, well, we paid this guy, so we're just going to wait and see what happens. I think, this is one of those moments where you just got to have hope today that the right people in the room can change culture. I've asked so many players that have played for good teams and bad teams how you change culture. Yeah. And the number one answer I get from everybody is treat people like men and have a clear line of responsibility. Everybody on the same page. I think this is the closest we've been to that since I can remember.
And we'll see it going forward. Jason, where can fans tune in and get your coverage, whether it's online or on the air? Where can people find you?
Sure. Yahoo Sports Daily is on Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern. We're on wherever you get free TV. So Roku, Tubi, Amazon Prime, all of those free TV outlets. We're also on YouTube every day. You can check it out there. And the Yahoo Sports app, we're out everywhere. And thanks. Like, Raider Nation, I mean it when I say it. Like, our show is clipped off into little segments all the time. When we talk Raiders, you guys watch. And part of the reason that we talk so much Raiders is because you guys watch it. So I'm forever thankful and blessed that you guys have given me a little opportunity to be a sliver in your lives. Thank you.
He's Jason. I'm Paul. Jason, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, brother.
All right, take care. Well, that's going to do it for today. Want to definitely thank our guest, Jason Fitz, for stopping by here on Radio Row. But that's not it for the week. We've also got Amber Theo Harris, Baron Davis. They're going to be having guests here on Wednesday and Thursday. Plus, you got a new edition of Upon Further Review, hosted by yours truly. That's going to be dropping on Friday. You can check all of this out on the Raiders official YouTube channel.